Welcome to another episode of Women Series where we capture developments and stories that impact women. Being a woman in the transportation and technology sector and rising to the top in a little amount of time is no small feat. It takes determination, hard work, and courage. Therefore, on today's episode of the Women Series, we'll be discussing women, transportation, and technology, and also entrepreneurship. And I have with me on the show to discuss and share insights about this subject, the Regional Marketing Manager Africa at Terver, Bendega. Thank you so much for joining us on the program. It's great to have you with us.
Hello, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me on your show. It's an honor to be here.
All right, so first and foremost, congratulations on being a nominee at the Future Africa Awards on entrepreneurship. So first, I'd like you to just share with us what your journey into entrepreneurship has been about.
Okay, that's a really good question. I like to think that my journey to entrepreneurship started sometime in university. I think there was this period between 2011 and 2013 where there was like this big drive towards entrepreneurship, and everybody was saying, "Oh, I want to start my own business. I want to launch my own business. I want to be the CEO of my own business." And I remember thinking to myself, well, I could, all the great things that come with entrepreneurship, like feelings of success and accomplishment, I think that I could do this within a pre-existing company. Um, so I think that kind of captures my mental journey. But I think my physical journey began in 2013 when I began working for a digital marketing agency in Lagos. After that, I said to myself, you've understood digital. It's time to kind of understand marketing in its entirety. So I went to a traditional marketing agency. I stayed there for about 2.5 years. And then I said, you know what, like education doesn't hurt. So I went and I did my master's in international marketing management. I graduated from the University of Leeds with a distinction. And then I came back to Nigeria and I had the opportunity to work for both. At that time, it was called Taxify in Nigeria. So yeah, I think that's kind of been my journey, and just like taking it one day at a time.
Wow, thank you for sharing that journey. But you've played a key role in growing both Common Texify, as you said, the ride-hailing startup, to become actually a market leader in sub-Saharan Africa. What has been the driving force?
So I think that the driving force has been very centered around, I think early on I realized just how much ride hailing had the capacity to provide access to people. And access in this sense means people who would traditionally not be able to go out of their houses and stand on the road can now access rides on demand from the comfort of their homes. And people in spaces in Nigeria, for example, that would otherwise not be touched by technology of this nature. So if you look at both expansion roadmap, we've gone from launching in Lagos and Abuja in the first year to over 25 cities now in our third year or thereabout. So I think access has been like sort of a driving force for me, like just focusing on how much more can ride hailing do in providing access to people. My first real effort at that happened in 2018, where we spearheaded a PVC drive where we wanted people to go out and get their PVCs. And seeing just how successful that campaign was in getting young people to actually go and register to vote. We've done that with more things. I think recently I've been more fascinated with trying to understand how can we use access and help women access more things. So earlier this year, one of the things that we launched was a emergency assist, an emergency assist emergency rides for women across Nigeria, such that like if you're in a volatile situation or you need to escape, you can have a ride at no cost. And we partnered with organizations like STARE and the Mirabel Center to execute this.
Now, you've been in a male-dominated sector, that's the transportation sector, for quite some time. How exactly do you see your role as a woman operating in the sector?
I think of my role as sort of pivotal in offering perspective. I think in the entire industry, if you even think about cars, like in manufacturing cars are manufactured with a lot of very male-centric qualities. You hear things like strength and power. So I think that industry kind of already is quite masculine. So as a woman, I think what I bring to the table and what women bring to the table in the industry is perspective. I think diversity and inclusion is a hot topic, and it's deservedly so, because when you have a melting pot of ideas and insights, it sort of helps create a more circumspect system where the question, what are some of the blind spots in the periphery that we might be missing, or what are some needs of certain audiences that we would otherwise not cater to, are constantly being asked. And the more we ask these questions, the more we can find answers to the questions.
Wow. It's been an awesome year, 2020. I mean, there have been hitches here and there, but we thank God we're here right now. But looking into 2021, what would you say are the key developments that will shape the activities of ride-hailing services in Nigeria?
I think there will be a few very interesting developments. I think one is the push towards like safer rides. I think that's one major, especially in sub-Saharan Africa, where gender-based violence is a big problem. So like designing our technology and centering it around giving women more agency to be able to make safe while in transit. That would be one major focus area. Another key development is micromobility, and I think like globally it's a big topic. So things like scooters and bikes, especially in light of COVID, where like sharing is something that we're doing less and less. So micromobility, one of the problems for the African market is that we don't have the infrastructure to really handle it. But again, we keep having these conversations and trying to figure out how micromobility options can better, be the solution for some of our countries.
Wow. But let's look beyond
Another
20.
thing is actually artificial intelligence, and like how we can use big data, thick data to just basically better balance the equilibrium that is supply and demand in the ride-hailing sector.
Wow. But beyond 2021 now, how do you see innovation and then technology repositioning businesses to solve customers' issues?
I I think that in 2021 we will see a bigger push to use tech for more empathetic purposes, and to use tech to humanize development. So I think like technology that's focused around supporting consumers on things like in the Nigerian context where like the economy is tanking, supporting consumers in their journey to frugality and to making cost savings. Those are some of the things that I think we will see more and more in the coming year. Just like a more human approach to how business is done and how technology runs.
Wow. Thank you so much, Teve, for joining us on the program. But lastly, before we let you go, what would be your advice to young female entrepreneurs and then women who might actually be looking into getting into the transportation technology space?
Well, I think fundamentally my advice would be to just do it. I think one thing that research has shown us is that a lot of women wait to be like very qualified or exactly qualified or many times overqualified for a role before they apply for it. But I think just apply. I mean, if you have some capacity, apply. I think there are spaces for women in tech, especially in transportation tech, and I think these spaces will continue to open up. And I think furthermore, like when you do enter these spaces, take up as much space as you can, and just don't be afraid to live out loud.
Wow. Thank you so much for joining us on the program today, Teve. It's been great having you, and thank you for sharing such a time. It's been great to have you on the program once again.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Thank
Have a
you.
great day.
So thank you very much, Teve. And that brings us to the end of today's episode of the Women series. To connect with us on our social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, with the details showing on your screen. You could also send me an email at programs@proshareng.com. Till next week when I come your way again. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.